So you're welcome to 22nd Avenue. Today's text in the Bhagavad-gita, text is taken from the Bhagavad-gita. Bhagavad-gita 18, chapter 18, chapter 18, text 21, 21, right? Today?
Yes, March 21.
All right. The title of the chapter is Conclusion, the Perfection of Renunciation. So this is the concluding aspect of this wonderful narration, or dialogue between Lord Krishna and Arjuna. So, translation, that knowledge by which one sees that in every different body there is a different type of living entity, you should understand to be in a mode of passion. That's interesting subject matter. But the concept that the material body is the living entity, and that with the destruction of the body, the consciousness is also destroyed, is called knowledge in a mode of passion. According to that knowledge, bodies differ from one another because of the development of different types of consciousness. Otherwise, there is no separate soul which manifests consciousness. The body itself is the soul, and there is no separate soul beyond the body. According to such knowledge, consciousness is temporary, or else there are no individual souls, but there is an all-pervading soul which is full of knowledge. And this body is a manifestation of temporary ignorance. Or, beyond this body, there is no special individual or supreme soul. All such conceptions are considered products of the mode of passion. Om Agyana Timirandasya Jnana Jana Salakaya Saksod Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Si Gurave Namaha Suchaitanya Manobistam Stafetam Jena Bhutali Swayam Rupam Kadamayam Dadati Swa Padantikam Bande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodita Godadhaya Puspavanto Chitu Chandu Tamondu Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pistaya Bhutali Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Itinamani Namaste Tara Satadeve Gauravani Pacharni Nivisisa Sunyavadi Pachatya Disitarini Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Si Advaita Gatadhara Sivasadi Sigora Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpataribhyacha, Kripasunabhya evacha, Patitanam Pavanabhyo, Vaishnavibhyo, Namo Namah. So, there are different approaches to the concept of the soul, and these are categorized according to the modes of material nature. We are all under the auspices of a specific mode of material nature, or a combination of the modes of material nature. In fact, the different permutations of the modes of material nature, that is what is responsible for variations in behavioral patterns. Because if you understand the characteristics of someone who is under the influence of the mode of passion, then you know that such a person, he is basically after profit, distinction, and adoration. Whatever he does or she does, the question, the pivotal question, perhaps uncoded or unspoken, tacit question from within. That's why I said the pivotal question. Pivotal question is, a person is thinking, what am I going to get from this? What am I going to get from this? Immediate, not post-dated check. Now and here. This is how the mode of passion works. Mode of passion, we are after distinction, you know. Whew. Number one. We find, I was just remembering a conversation between Muhammad Ali and my Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Vasudeva Swami Maharaj. So he told us how, because he was also a mentor to Muhammad Ali. So when he goes to see Muhammad Ali, he will make some comments like, Swami, you see, look at my reception, sitting room. It's full of people. They want to see me. And when I drive along the streets with my exceptional, pensive, cozy car, the people, they say, here comes Muhammad Ali. He's an exceptional, popular guy. He said, but you know what? All of these people whom you seen there when you came in, all of them are after, they want to get something from me. So that is a typical display of the mode of passion. What am I going to get from him? He's a big guy. He's a popular guy, rich. He or she. What am I going to get from him? This is a manifestation of the quality of the mode of passion. And so, someone in the mode of passion also may be interested in spiritual knowledge. And we'll find this very much a dominant factor, especially in Western countries where we have people who are interested in spiritual life. Top scholars, top business tycoons. And you have, I don't want to mention organizations, but you have this type of organization that they come together. But if you go close, they're talking about the soul, this and this, values, ethics, here and there. But if you examine the philosophy very closely, it's all about distinction, fame, and adoration. What are we going to get? How are we going to exploit the resources of material nature? That's it. At best, they talk about the soul, but then is this concept here. Atma, the whole body is Atma. The whole body is the soul. Therefore, eat, drink, and be merry. Because when you die, everything is finished. It's finished. So, people who have not acquired sufficient pious merit, they encounter this type of philosophy, they encounter this type of people in these organizations. And these guys, they are the top profile guys in society. To join the society, you have to pay every year thousands of dollars. I don't want to mention the names. But then the bottom line is that the knowledge they're teaching people, or the knowledge they acquire in this type of setting, is what Prabhupada is describing in this purport. And in fact, if you are presenting a talk, say you're presenting a talk in say in an academic setting, or in an open setting where people are not necessarily spiritual, and if you're talking about the soul, you have to be able to create a balance. Otherwise, in some cases, people will just walk away. Because if you don't bring in what they know, that the soul, the whole of this body is the soul. So you will say, yeah, this is one of the approaches of the soul. This is one approach. But yes, it described here by Prabhupada. It's an aspect of knowledge. But it's knowledge in the mode of passion. And then when you present this, that this is one approach to the soul, this is one way of understanding of the soul. The soul is the whole of this body could be characterized as the soul. And then the other aspect, the other approach, this is just to be able to create a balance in information culture or spiritual information culture. Because if you don't create a balance like that, basically knowledge or learning implies, you're introducing something that the person has already known. Learning begins from the known to the unknown. So when you speak with them about what their own conception, and this is where we learn not to be fanatical in dealing with people. So yeah, people, that this type of knowledge exists, but it is not for Paramahamsas. It's not for transcendentalists. It's not for people who really want to perform devotional service or who understand their Christian identity as a spiritual part and parcel of the Supreme Spirit or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So next time when you hear someone, or you go to some gathering, public gathering, or some conference, spiritual conference, spiritual seminars, and someone starts speaking about this type of concept, don't just walk away. Understand that this is knowledge in the mode of passion. Don't just condemn them and say, hey, this is bullshit. No. This is how to create a balance in society. You have to understand the other person's viewpoint. Then you know how to be able to facilitate their knowledge acquisition or the knowledge change in their lives. And so I was intrigued when Prabhupada, was presented all of this information in detail in this paper. So these different philosophies are there, but we should not lose grip of that superior knowledge in the mode of goodness, wherein we understand that the soul is Sat, Chit, Ananda. The soul is eternal, full of knowledge, and full of substantiality. Sat, Chit, Ananda. The opposite of that, that is the soul that is part and parcel of Krishna. Now, that is the Antaranga soul. That is the Antaranga, the superior energy. Now, when you talk about this body being the soul based on the mode of passion, that is, a knowledge in the Bhagavad-gita concept of life. Knowledge that is under the auspices of the illusory energy. And these are all Krishna's energies. Krishna is the source of all of the different manifestations of knowledge. He is the source of, different energies. And therefore, if we have a higher understanding, we will try to appreciate whatever someone is presenting. And not just, damn them and, just walk away. Because, it's like, if you have some siblings, say for instance, you have some siblings, okay, if you're grown up, you have some kids, and maybe you're somebody like Sacha, who is a mathematician, and then when you come back home and you tell your little kid, hey Joe, do you know that dy dx is equal to gradient? Joe will say, Dad, what is this? I don't know what you're talking about. You don't show your high knowledge acquisition to a little kid. Oh yeah, because you just confused that kid. But then, if we gradually cultivate the child, they will come to understand how they are not his body, how they are spirit souls, how they are part and parcel of Krishna. And therefore, knowledge is based on different gradations. So this is one grade, one of the platforms of knowledge acquisition. But this is not what the devotee of Lord Krishna is really looking for. Because a devotee operates in the mode of goodness, at least in the mode of goodness. And therefore he wants that higher understanding. The knowledge that could lead her free. The knowledge that could lead to emancipation from the clutches of material existence. Because this knowledge in the mode of passion, which basically stipulates that the whole body is the soul, that means the soul is perishable. Whereas characteristically, the soul is imperishable. That is one of the characteristics Krishna, provided for us in the Gita about the nature of the soul. It's imperishable. You can burn the soul to ashes. No amount of instrument can really have any effect on the soul. No amount of weapon, even atomic bomb. And so one who has this higher knowledge, he's a free. He has a freedom. I think this Greek philosopher, which of them is it, Plato, or which of them that when he was
Socrates.
Socrates, when he was tried and found guilty, there is in the legal system, in the law court, there is something we call allocutus. Yeah, you have been found guilty, boy. What is your last statement? What have you got to say? That's called allocutus. Like, what's the last thing you have to say? So they told Socrates, yeah, we found him guilty, Sentenced to death. But what have you got to say? And what was Socrates' response? He said, first you have to catch me. For you to kill me, first you have to catch me. He was speaking about knowledge of the soul in the Gita. He understood. I'm not this body. So what? You want to kill this body? Don't give a damn. Kill me. So he challenged his prosecutors and trial attorneys that, hey, if you want to kill me, first you have to catch me. The people were confused. This guy is here. And he said, first we have to catch him. So that is a higher knowledge. It's talking about knowledge of the soul. So we'll find that, especially amongst the Greek, in the Greek civilization, there are all of these top, and keep in mind that even Western philosophy begins with the Greek civilization. All of these Socrates, Plato, and all these people who are renowned Western scholars, they've been very great thinkers. I don't remember which of them. He'll be walking and stand at one spot for hours. I don't know which of them, whether it's Plato or Socrates. So this is a civilization of thinkers. So for one to become exposed to this type of knowledge, that he or she is not a body, but that fragmental part which is spiritual or unified force, whatever you call it, but it's spiritual. It's not subject to decay. It's not subject to death. It's not subject to old age, disease. That knowledge is different from knowledge of the body. So they are just basically these opposite polarities. The knowledge of the soul, knowledge in the mode of goodness, and knowledge in the mode of passion. This knowledge in the mode of passion, it makes people to become slaves of their sensory modalities and their minds. Because the little dictates from the mind and the senses, obey. And you have to struggle so hard to obey the dictates of the senses and the mind. So this is the negative effect of this knowledge in the mode of passion. Because if we say the soul is, the whole body is the soul, is perishable, then, there is a super soul which is imperishable. So this body is the soul. So what's wrong in doing anything you like with this body? There's a good rationale for that. And therefore the devotees of Lord Krishna must be equipped with these different approaches to the science of the soul. So here is this very knowledge in the mode of passion is alluding to the effect that the soul is not eternal. The soul is full of ignorance. The soul is full of, sadness. It's not blissful. Whereas the actual characteristics of the soul is Satchit Ananda. It's eternal. It's full of knowledge. And it's ever blissful. And so, this is why, you see, who amongst us here is not looking for happiness? Bliss is just a superlative aspect of happiness. But everybody is looking for bliss or looking for happiness. Why? Because that is our inherent nature. That is the nature of the soul. And therefore, we look for happiness by all means. So there's nothing wrong in looking for bliss. It's just that we should not look for bliss in the wrong place. And what has caused so much of frustration on the planet, and even been people committing suicide, is that they search for bliss in the wrong locations. If you want to go and see a friend, you don't have the address, you just be roaming around the streets of New York. And at worst, you could be picked up by the police because you're roaming. You don't have a sense of direction. And so, in a similar way, someone who is under the auspices of the mode of passion, they don't have any definite sense of direction, in the sense that they don't have any strategy to become emancipated, to be freed. Imagine someone in jail and doesn't even understand that he or she is in jail and is making so many big plans. And if you come tell them that, hey, you are in jail, you left your family, you left your kids, and you're in jail, your wife is out there and your kids waiting for you. He said, no, I don't believe that. I'm comfortable here. I get two or 3 square meals. When I was outside, I couldn't get even 3 square meals. Here, I'm getting the 2 square meals. What are you talking about? So, this is one of the deficits that, that this knowledge in the mode of passion brings about. Such persons are just about here and now. No strategic plans. And therefore, we have to understand that to become a transcendentalist, one has to appreciate the fact that there is a super soul within the same body. There is a super soul or Paramatma, and there is also the soul or the Jiva Atma. Now, the problem with a number of people who are supposedly treading on the path of spirituality, who are not guided by a mentor, who are not using any scriptural authority, scriptural injunctions, or scriptural literature, and they're not also guided by practitioners. The problem with that is that they go about speculating and they don't achieve any definite goal. And therefore, the very concept of the soul is so intriguing. And Krishna gives, different definitions or different characteristics of the soul. And if we understand that we are not this body, that alone could bring about peace and harmony in society. Because if we know that we are not this body, why would the use of going to steal or going to rob a bank for a very transitory period of enjoyment of that resources? And the good thing in America is that, you go to the bank, you rob, you thought you're successful, but they will track you down. Because everywhere, there are cameras. So whatever you do, you think you were successful. Again, ignorance, propels people to do things, and sometimes people completely forget that there are cameras everywhere. Even when you're driving, you overspeed, you get a ticket on him. So the system is set up in such a way that we don't have to question, do we believe that we have to follow the laws? No one asks you to believe or not to believe. You are forced to follow the laws. If you go to the road and you drive any side you want to, you'll be pulled over by the cops. They're not going to ask you, oh, you don't want to follow the rules? The traffic rules? No, they just give you a ticket. So this is a society we're living in, that we're being policed. Just because we don't see physical police monitoring our activities, it doesn't mean that we can do anything and we go scotch-free. Because by nature, we are spiritual. So there is also that spiritual surveillance, which is not meant to take your data and make money, but to keep it for your hemorrhage. You go to any of the social media, what's your name, date of birth, What are they doing with those data? Now, I was reading on the other day about data surveillance and capitalism. And you see that each time you input your data, it's useful, it becomes a part of a data bank. So people have to use your information to be able to create a fortune for themselves. And it's just, there's so many people who just go to the web, fill their names anywhere, any site. They don't know what people do with that information. So we're helping people to make money. We don't question about it. Now, when we talk about spiritual culture, spiritual rules, spiritual laws, we question about it. Good for you. And therefore, the understanding that the soul is different from this physical body. Now, the Bhagavad-gita delineates 3 aspects of our existence: the physical body, the subtle body, and the soul proper. The very words used by Krishna in the Gita: Bhumi, Apa, Nala, Vayu, Kam, Mana, Buddhi, Ahankar, Av, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. 8 elements. Now, 3 of these elements are subtle. We don't perceive it. We don't see it. We don't see the false ego. We don't see the mind. That doesn't mean that we don't have mind. We can't see the mind. But doesn't mean that, what we cannot see doesn't exist. So, if we understand and we appreciate the fact that the mind is there, because we have lived experience of how the mind works. We have lived experience. All of us, we have that lived experience. The mind tells you to do certain things, okay? And, sometimes we think, if I just become subservient to my mind, then I'll be peaceful. Really? We are not going to be peaceful when we become subservient to our minds. Because the mind is never tired of harassing us. Get this done, get this done, get this done. Do it for me. Please me. Please me and you'll be happy, okay? But no one has been happy by trying to please the mind. So when people get into metaphysical analysis of this body, I understand that the mind is what propels, the influence of the mind is what pushes people to become slaves in this material world. The influence of the mind is what makes people to get into trouble. The influence of the mind is also what makes people to become great souls. Why? Because somebody is able to control their mind, another person is not able to. But without the metaphysical analysis of this body, forget it. If we say the body, the soul, the whole body is the soul, then there's no question of metaphysical analysis or the mind and the ego being different. But the mind, the ego, they are different. They are subtle aspects of creation. And so in this very Bhagavad-gita, we can get the information that we need. Forget about going back to Godhead. We can use the Bhagavad-gita to be happy in this world. Knowledge is the source of freedom. If we don't have knowledge, God does a lot of things. Knowledge can make you to be a high-profile personality. Yeah, what's the difference between the people who have PhDs and people who didn't go to school? Knowledge. Oh yeah. What's the difference between the Paramahamsas and the people who are, who are good dancers? Knowledge. And the fundamental aspect is the implementation of that knowledge in our daily life. That makes the difference. So knowledge of the soul is so helpful, it's so motivating for creating and initiating changes in our lives. But when we do initiate that change, even in knowledge acquisition quest, we have to be able to make sure we sustain it. And that sustenance or that sustainability comes when we have regular association, when we come to hear this knowledge amongst devotees. So yeah, forget about these bodies that we're having. I'm a black man, I'm a brown man, I'm a green man, I'm a yellow man, I'm a white man. Whatever it is. Yeah, these are just the morphology of the illusory energy. Our real personality is the same. You know, I was reading Papa a statement, and he was making some argument with some Christians, Christian evangelists or some cardinal. So he said, oh, okay, if you say the animal, they don't have soul. What's the difference between an animal and a human being? What is the difference? Papa just pin him down. What is the difference? The animal is struggling to eat. It's just that he does not go to school to acquire some degrees. He doesn't have that evolved consciousness to go and sit down in class and be tutored or be mentored by some professor. But Krishna arranges what he's going to eat. Okay, you see those in the animals that they arrange a big festival for their marriage. Or, they don't spend so much of money in going to do a wedding. But, they have free spouses all over the place. And for eating, they can eat anything anywhere. Why not? We have to work so hard to get 2 square meals. So the point is, okay, we are eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Animals are also doing this. Animals have consciousness. If you want to go and hit a dog, they will bark at you. If you're not careful, they will even bite you. So they are conscious. They are aware of their environmental forces, environmental factors. They have some danger. They protect themselves, they react. So what's the difference between the humans and the animals? Just that the humans have evolved consciousness and we can inquire into spiritual reality. That's the difference. We don't see dogs inside this class. That's not their business. But it is business of the human beings to make inquiries at Tata Brahma Jigyasa, spiritual inquiries. Because anyone can make inquiries. If you go to any department or any organization, any company, you go to reception, there's provision for inquiries. Yes, what do you want? How can we help you? Inquiries is always there. But our exclusive functional connotation is that we can make spiritual inquiries about the soul, who we are, where we are coming from, where are we going from now, from here. And so, people in a mode of ignorance, they are not so much blessed by this higher knowledge of the soul. And so when we do understand that the soul and the super soul, they work hand in hand. The super soul is also there, sitting in the region of the heart, Ridesu, in the region of the heart. So the soul is so infinitesimal, it's so minuscule, 1/10,000 the tip of the air. But the super soul is far, far bigger than that. And so, there's a relationship between the soul and the super soul, the jiva and the paramatma. The paramatma is like a mother watching the child. Hey, don't do this. Hey, then the child, this rascally child, says, leave me, mom, leave me alone. I do my stuff. Okay, mom says, all right, do your stuff. That's how the super soul tries to guide the the jiva, the individual living entity. But in most cases, we have been conditioned for billions of lifetimes. So we want to do the things according to how we like to do it, and we get entangled. So the soul says, well, I try to help you, but this is what you want to do, no problem. You have some free will. But the free will does not preclude you from getting the reactions to your works. This is why we have different bodily manifestations, we have differential coefficient in terms of bodily development and whatever. Work. The type of work we perform in our previous life is what catapults the soul into another body to pay the price for all of those works. Which country is the seat of war now? The really heated one?
Syria.
Syria, okay. Who here amongst you would like to take birth in Syria in the next life? Or given that you have a chance to just change your birth, to change your status now, would you like change of status? People come to America to change status. They don't try to go to Syria to go and change status. Because there is a war. Life is very uncertain. Existence is very uncertain. But, okay, if we understand that we are not this body, well, why don't we just, take any risk anyhow? But that is not the requirement. If we have this higher understanding, we should be able to use that knowledge to create a better situation for our lives. And that means to perform devotional service and be prepared not to take another risk having to take birth again in the material world. That is the very essence of the science of the soul, is to make spiritual inquiries and serve the Supreme Spirit, serve Krishna in devotional service. All of this knowledge, here you go there, is just to come to that to that point that our prime duty is to be able to rediscover our values, our spiritual values, our relationship with Krishna. And so this knowledge is very good for us because it will help to create cohesion in society, in a family, in our communities, and in the global society. Because when we do understand that we are not just these bodies, we are spiritual entities. That is knowledge in the mode of goodness. Because then that goodness will become all-pervasive. Because if everyone on this planet has that higher understanding, you see people's behavioral patterns will change. Oh yeah. And so it's interesting how there's a lot of provisions for us to understand all aspects of knowledge in a very holistic way. Knowledge in the mode of goodness, knowledge in the mode of passion, knowledge in the mode of ignorance. The next verse is to discuss about knowledge in the mode of ignorance. So this is very enlivening, very stimulating for me because it creates an awareness of the fact that we can really have a better world if people become spiritually oriented, spiritually inclined, become involved in some spiritual practice, devotional service. And it's a very simple process. A very simple process, especially in this age of Kali. In the 21st millennium, what is recommended for one to become, self-realized is simply to chant Krishna's names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. For those of you coming for the first time, we have our cards there. So you pick one of the cards and then these very amazing prayers is there for you. And if you do this, you can just give some time to read. And you see that your life will never be the same. Any comments or questions? Yes, right.
How can we be able to see the soul?
Mm.
You know, I heard in one lecture, Prabhupada was saying, you want to see God, but you can't even see the soul.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about that now.
Mm.
How do you just see the soul?
Yeah, that's an interesting subject matter, because the soul is 1/10th on the tip of the air. So if you even have the highest power, or even under the highest power of the microscope, you cannot see it. You can see the SuperSoul even in the dog's body if you have the eyes. But the soul is so small. Yeah, so that's a good challenge Papa puts forward. Okay, you're demanding to see God, and you can't even see yourself, because the soul is our real self. You can't even see yourself, and you're demanding to see God. So that is ironical. Yeah. So it's so graphic. The dimension is given in the Purana, 1/10,000 the tip of the air. So assuming that is a material substance, you can't observe it under the highest power of the microscope. It's just so infinitesimal. The SuperSoul, in some cases, we find based on, the type of body, type of spiritual development one has. But at the same time, the soul can expand. I mean, just like the whole of this body, the soul, when one becomes highly spiritual and fully Krishna conscious, the soul becomes expansive and assumes its a natural state. So because in the spiritual world, that the bodies there are spirit souls. In other words, they are identified by spiritual reality, not Bahiranga Shakti. It's Antaranga Shakti that is dominant in the spiritual world. In other words, it's spiritual energy that is dominant in the spiritual world. So when we do perform our bhajans, when we cultivate Krishna consciousness to a very high level, if Krishna wants, he could also manifest, or he could also reveal the SuperSoul in the heart to us. But for someone who is not a devotee, who is not guided, the tendency, and this has been happening, the tendency is people perform lots and lots of austerities. They don't have any devotional guide how the SuperSoul is different from the Jiva. So when they perform all type of austerities, and maybe by accumulation of pious merit, the SuperSoul, they could perceive the SuperSoul. But then, it so happens that they think that personality they are seeing is themselves. This is the concept of, I am God, you are God, he is God, she is God. So it's so dangerous, again, on the part of spirituality, if we don't have a guide. We may perform all type of austerities, but we could easily be misled by our senses. Yeah. Any other comments? Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Horrible.
So you were talking about you give people knowledge is given in different gradations, right? So for instance, practically, say you have a friend or something that asks some kind of some kind of metaphysical question, and so you give them, right, the ABCs, and they notice that you give them the ABCs, so then they ask an even more intricate question because they realize that you're not giving them, and then you realize that you can't give too much, right, or else you might create an offense, right? So you don't want to give too much, but then they get insulted because now their ego comes into the mix, like why won't you you know, like you think you're too good, you know, you think what you're doing is too good, you can't even tell, you know, so like where is that that balance?
Yeah. The point is that it's for an expert educator, he knows or she knows the audience. I mean, it's like, okay, if I'm going to give a Sunday class in any East Contempo, I'm not going to start talking about, you know, Madhuryaras, because people will be set in confusion. I become like, you know, maybe small attorney general. So I can confuse the people, you know. Oh yeah. So the bottom line is that for an educator, you know the audience, you know the capacity. What can he absorb? But I mean, it's like you have a teenage sibling, and then they want to know that higher information. I mean, it's like the example I gave that. Okay, you come in and tell your younger one that he's just a teen, he's a preteen, and you come to say hey Joe, do you know that dy dx is equal to gradient? They may not know, but sometimes they just want to pose that. Yeah, I got it. So if you know that he's that type of person who wants to, I remember something now. When I was a brahmachari in New Jersey, so I remember sometimes I give class on Sunday. And there was this pujari there who works with us. In fact, he was the chief pujari at that time. So he told me something. He said, Vasudev, you know, when you give you a class, I don't understand, you know. But because you laugh and everybody else is laughing, so I also follow them laugh because if I don't laugh, it's like you know, I don't understand what is going on. So there are some people like that. That's why I said you have to understand the audience. You know, what type of personality is that? Is it somebody who just wants to make a show of knowledge, or is it somebody who really wants to learn? If he wants to just make a show of knowledge, and he's demanding you should give this, all right, we give to create a relationship. You give. You're free from from being accused of hiding something or not giving the higher knowledge. So, bottom line, you have to know who is asking what, so that you see how our relationship with people is to be able to become facilitators. We're not really teachers. To facilitate people's spiritual positive change.
But sometimes when you say something like, oh, hey, why don't you eat meat, right? You start to say, oh, you know, I don't eat meat. Then they start going deeper and then you end up saying, I don't eat anything, you know, it's got a soul, you know, I'm not into eating. So then now you disturb them. Now they're like, you know, ooh. So it's just, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it's very hard to find that silver lining, you know,
yeah,
so that
you
don't disturb them.
A number of people to not eat meat. That's not a big thing. There are so many. You know, veganism is just it's very much in vogue in the West. I remember, you know, Reagan's daughter, when she was for her wedding, she just declared that, hey, we're not going to serve meat here, okay? If you are looking for meat, please don't come. So it's just a common thing. People are proud of it, that they're vegans. So if somebody is just questioning or trying to find, you know, some loophole, or just trying to find some fault about why you're not eating meat, I mean, you just refer them to the vegans. What I was going to say about the vegans, I mean, it's even for a number of reasons, people are vegans. They are not necessarily, you know, highly spiritual. But for health reason or whatever, people resort to veganism. And sometimes even our devotees, we don't seem to understand that just by drinking milk, people, some people out there, they won't subscribe to the idea that you are drinking milk if you're a spiritualist, and therefore we should keep some things in our closets. We don't display everything because the people who are vegans, they feel that they're superior to the people who are. I remember there was a case of one. I don't want to mention name, but one is called leader. So he went to the web and was talking about I think he was talking about car protection and all those things. So some scholars, I saw that I was still using social media. I was still using Facebook. So I saw that and I was just mesmerized how these scholars, they just attack this devotee, this senior devotee, is a guru. So they just make the references and quotes and all those things, and they really like. So bottom line, what I'm trying to say is that just because we are devotees doesn't mean that we know everything. Yeah, we can't tell people out there, yeah, we are car protectors, and so we drink milk. And they will come on your case that you say you're saying non-violence, and you're still encouraging, They don't understand. They don't understand. You can't go and tell them that, hey, Krishna is the lover of cows, And Krishna is fed with milk products, and we are devotees of Lord Krishna, and that's why, they won't listen to that defense. And so we should know that, bottom line, we should know our audience. We don't go to the public and just, make as if we are the best because we are lacto-vegetarians. They will attack us. Oh yeah. They have scientific reasons to attack us, social reasons to attack us. So yeah. All right, so bottom line, we should know our audience. Any other comments or questions? Yes.
You were mentioning the conversations between Bhakti Swami and Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Did Bhakti Swami ever share any advice or anything that he may have, like if he was a mentor to Muhammad Ali?
Yeah. He mentioned some things like, whenever Muhammad Ali wants to go, is preparing to go for a fight, he will not have sex for like some weeks ahead of time. They were very close. So he told us some things. Some of them are really very confidential, but the things I mentioned were like those general things. Yeah, so he was. You see, if you want to be successful, you want to become a high-profile fellow, you have to be situated in self-regulation to some degree. Otherwise, you cannot be a high achiever. Oh yeah. Any other comments or questions? Yes.
How can we, like you said earlier, emancipate yourself from the clutches of the material world?
Yeah, it's a very simple thing. We're teaching people they should align with Lord Krishna's devotional service, serve the devotees, serve Prabhupada's mission, chant Hare Krishna. It begins with association with the devotees. When associating with devotees, then you begin to learn the philosophy. You chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This very simple mantra is what makes or what has made people Paramahamsas. So we can also become Paramahamsas. Why not? We can also become Goswamis. Why not? Goswami means someone who is highly self-regulated. The time for watching movies and videos, video games on the internet, that is time for sleeping, for his sleeping. He's highly self-regulated. Then he wakes up in the morning during the Brahma Muhurta hours to do his meditation or to read or to get prepared to go to work, because the early morning hours are the best periods for qualitative productivity in whatever we do. So even in spiritual life, Prabhupada arranged that. We wake up, those of us who are living in the temples or living in temples, we wake up early in the morning to engage in devotional sadhana, Mangalati, chanting of one's rounds, and that allows you to become bulletproofed. Every day you go out to work or go to school, you are actually going into a battlefield. So, the important thing is that we should become self-regulated by being able to go to sleep on time, being able to wake up on time, because when we do wake up on time and chant our rounds before we go out, our day is very auspicious. Everyone else out there in the office or at school or whatever, they may be begrudgingly doing what they have to do, but you'll be beaming with smiles, and people will wonder, what did you eat? It's not just eating, it's spiritual diet, it's Krishna conscious diet, connecting with Krishna in a very substantive way. So yeah, the chanting looks like a simple thing. The other day I was mentioning that also at the Brooklyn Temple. The number of people they've taken initiation, they can't even chant 16 rounds. What's the use of taking initiation when you can't chant 16 rounds? Just for fashion? Whew, I'm initiated. This is my new name. Das or David Darcy. Initiation means we have started a project. This is the beginning. Then the chanting of 16 rounds is just the preliminary approach to that. And by chanting the 16 rounds, you'll be able to have that zeal to become self-regulated. And sometimes people say they don't have time to chant. Good for you. You're too busy. Okay, no problem. I'm not too busy. Yeah, let me give my time to Krishna. Oh, no problem. You're too busy. No problem. Isn't it? Yeah. Krishna consciousness is, Prabhupada says, is not an imposition on anyone's mind. Yeah. So if you have a relationship with somebody, you want to do things voluntary for that person. Isn't it? Yeah. So our process of devotional service is to reawaken our dormant love for Krishna. Would you like to be loved? Oh yeah. Everybody, this is one of the things. We have misplaced love. In this material world, we misplace our love priorities. There's nothing wrong with looking for love. But we put our hope, our emotions in the wrong places. And then they get busted. Right? Isn't it, Mataji? The whole world, there is so much of desire because of this ignorance, or this conception of knowledge in the mode of passion. Yeah. Because I was coming in the train and I was just thinking, oh my God. Oh yeah, it's all over the place. Because this knowledge enables perpetual suffering. Knowledge about the soul in the mode of passion, it enables perpetual suffering. Of course, it does give some immediate sensation, a quick fix, I call it. But then the quick fixes, it doesn't last, Just the next moment, it's all about fighting, killing each other, litigations and all this. I can imagine, people come together, darling, 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 and then the next time they're in the court. I was reading some case. Whew, there was this there was this guy, young man, with his wife. That was just recently. They put him up in the news. You know what happened? They had a kid. His own kid. But he got angry with the wife and he shot the kid. His own child. He shot the kid. First, the kid has some mystical power. First, he tried to shoot him, and then the trigger didn't work. So the wife ran out into the car. Then he came back reinforced, and again he went there and shot the child. Okay, you have a problem with your wife. Is it the child? He thought, let me kill him so that you suffer. But this is how this knowledge about motor passion works. It gives us some type of sensation, but then in the very next moment, the person that we say, darling, 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 poof, will kill the person. This is a very good war, right? Very wonderful world. The other time, again, some few months ago or so, I read also in news, that person, they were just surprised. His father has to come and interview him before he accepted. He killed his children with his wife. And then he went to declare to the police that his wife and the children, they're missing. Oh yeah. I want a spouse, I want a spouse, I want a spouse. I want a spouse. Okay, no problem. But not all spouses are bad, okay? But you cannot be sure that you cannot be sure of anything, Material world, the Bhagavatam describes that pada, hi, vi, pada. Any step you take, you could be unlucky, it could result to some danger. All right. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad-gita ki jai. Nitai go Premanande. Thank you. All right. Next phase.
We do a short kirtan and a prasadam.
All right.